Hey, what's up, guys? Today we wanted to give a shout out to our friends at Bad Luck Cult. They are a clothing brand that's up and coming. They wanted to show our support, or show their support to our channel, and made us these really cool t-shirts that we will be wearing in this episode. So once again, thanks guys for all your support, and we're looking forward to more endeavors with you guys. By the way, it does come in some really cool packaging, as you can see. So anyways, once again, guys, we appreciate everything.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knightmare Talks.
I'm Chase.
And I'm Aaron. I feel bad because I'm always introducing myself first, so I want you to feel important.
A goes before
Chase.
C. It makes sense. You should just introduce yourself.
Well, we're
anyway,
a team.
Yeah,
we're a
you're
team.
right.
So.
We're a unit. We're combined.
So hey, once again, check out the shirts that Bad Luck Cult. Bad Luck Cult hooked us up with, and these are some really nice shirts, guys. Good quality stuff.
Comfy.
They fit really well and super cool. Like, they feel really cool.
The cool design's on the back. I'm not standing up to show you, but it is a cool shirt.
Yeah. So, anyways, welcome back to the show. We're gonna go ahead and get into our spotlight movie of the episode, which is going to be The Midnight Meat Train. And I know that sounds like a porno, but it is not a porno.
It sounds like a terrible off porno. It's like one of those like cheap,
like Harry Potter,
like not a good porno at all.
Saving Ryan's Privates or
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
So bad.
We can go on and on, but you guys probably already know all the. You don't watch this channel for porno. There's other channels for that. Anyways, so Midnight Meat Train. I want to say it's a sleeper movie because a lot of people don't know about this movie. Dude,
it was a sleeper for me, for sure. It was one of those movies that I went into, and you're like, okay, I get the gist of what this movie's going to be about. It's a serial killer on a train.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you, I'm not actually gonna spoil this movie. I want people to watch this movie.
Okay,
so
we'll see.
It goes way further than what you think or what you assume you know about this movie. It was a sleeper for me. I thoroughly enjoyed it because when you first told me about it, man, when you're like, "Hey, dude, you gotta watch this one,"
I told you I was gonna introduce you to some crazy shit.
What kind of weird, creepy porno are you having me watch? But total opposite. The only thing that is weird in this movie is Bradley Cooper being the main character.
Yeah, wasn't that weird? Like, he goes from like Rocket Raccoon to let's just go ahead and introduce it. So it was made in 2008, came out in 2008, and it does star Bradley Cooper and Vinnie Jones. For those of you who don't know who Vinnie Jones is, he's in a lot of movies as well. He's big in Europe.
Okay.
He's in Snatch. He's in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He's in a lot of movies. It's kind of one of those people, like, once you look him up, you'll see, oh, I do recognize that guy. He is in a ton of movies. But, man, Bradley Cooper and Vinnie Jones in this movie are amazing.
It went really well. It did.
And basically the story is about Bradley Cooper is a journalist or a photographer who just starts following Vinnie Jones every day in his daily life because he just thinks he's a really weird, suspicious character. And, so that's what it's about. And turns out Vinnie Jones is a serial killer, and that's kind of the...
So more in depth to why he starts following. I'm going to spoil this.
Spoil it?
It's going to happen.
I knew you weren't going to be able to not spoil
God,
it.
I can't help it. Anyway, so... So there's a girl. It's at the train subway station, if you will. She's getting attacked by, like, these three guys. Like, she's about to get robbed, killed, whatever. And he is taking photos of just the city in general. And he's taking photos of this incident. And that's kind of how this kicks off. So he stops her from pretty much getting killed at that moment. And then later on, she goes the rest of the way down the stairs, gets on the train. And then, anyway, it goes on that the girl went missing. And so he dives into, well, how did she go missing and what was the cause? Because in his mind, it was those individuals. But good movie. My goodness. It was
even the theme sound for the movie is creepy. See if I can play it here. Yeah. Just the whole vibe and the setting, the train, and goddamn, the way he freaking kills people. Holy crap! I don't really want to spoil that because that'll surprise you. But he does work for a butcher shop. So use your imagination.
Yeah.
But that
great movie. It was a sleeper for me, dude. It really was. Because, like I said, when I heard the name, I'm like, I don't know that I care to watch that. And then I watch it, and I'm like,
Yeah, thank you, Aaron.
Super
Thank you.
good movie.
Go ahead and say it,
Super.
Chase. Go ahead and say it.
Thank you, Aaron.
There you go. That's what I do. I introduce you guys to stuff that you may or may not know. Chase, I'm going to be introducing you to a lot more crazy shit, so just get ready for that.
I'm so ready.
Yeah, hopefully your wife doesn't get...
Hopefully they don't all sound like pornos like this one.
Well, if they're good, they're going to sound like a porno.
So you're saying only movies that sound like pornos are good movies?
No, I'm just saying a lot of the ones that sound like pornos are pretty good.
Tracking.
I don't know what happened with that, but... All right, so what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, Chase?
Ooh.
We're going to start doing that now, I think. Instead
like
of just saying it's a good movie or it's a great movie, we're going to start rating
Okay,
this.
so this one is going to be... I'm going to give it an 8.5, dude.
8.5.
It is worthy of an 8.5, for sure. Could it be a 9? I could debate, but 8.5 is solid.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and give it a 9 because it's the type of horror movies that I like to watch.
Yep.
It does take a super weird turn towards the end, and you're just like, holy crap, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
Kind of like Jeepers Creepers.
For sure.
In the sense that, you're thinking it's just a serial killer, and then all of a sudden you're just like, it takes that turn, and you're like, wow, what just happened? But I really, really enjoyed this movie. Once again, it's kind of a sleeper.
It is a sleeper.
I believe that there's a lot of you guys out there that probably have never heard of this movie, so definitely check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Watch the movie. It's worth it. I promise it's not what you think. In the ending, if you're not surprised, then nothing will shock you because it surprised me.
Pretty surprising. Yeah.
Yep.
So, dude, let's talk about serial killers.
All right, dude. Yeah, I'm down with that.
We haven't really talked about serial killers
Yeah.
too much on this channel, so let's get into it, bro.
Dude, we haven't done this, and I'm kind of surprised we haven't. But,
yeah,
dude, I don't know a lot of serial killers.
Who would you say is your favorite, though, if you had to say... I mean, that's kind of a morbid question of like, oh, dude, who's your hero serial killer? No.
And this is where I'm terrible. So when it comes to serial killers, I will admit that my lack of knowledge with this is terrible. Ted Bundy, obviously, the one I know most is, kind of it. But
you always kind of make me feel bad because I actually know a lot about serial killers. Does that make me like a weirdo?
Honestly, dude, I don't judge you.
Yeah. It's a good thing, man.
Yeah.
It's a good thing because I don't know if we can be partners anymore.
I mean, I feed off what you tell me because, I get good info from you and vice versa. So
I don't know, man. I really I'm intrigued by real life stuff instead of stuff you see in the movies and stuff. That's all obviously fake.
Yeah.
But like real life stuff is creepy, dude. I do recall a story about Ted Bundy that. Man, the first time I heard that story I was just like, oh my God, that's pretty crazy. So the story was they were doing an interview of this lady who said that her mom and her dad, when they first started dating, I guess her dad asked her mom on like, hey, I want to take you out on a date. And so they were both really into hiking in the outdoors and stuff. So they decided that they were going to go do a hike in Utah. I don't know exactly where at in Utah, but I do know it was Utah. So what it was kind of like at first she was kind of skeptical and just kind of like, first date, go on a hike out in the middle of nowhere. But you know what? She was like, nice enough guy, whatever. So she said, yeah, sure, whatever. So when they started to go, I guess it was in the afternoon, if I remember correctly, but there was a point in the hike where it kind of went down into like a valley.
Yeah. And
in the valley, it was wooded. It was a wooded area, and it was kind of dark. So at first, obviously the lady, the girl was like, she was really uncomfortable with going through this dark wooded area. But he assured her, oh, I've done this hike numerous times. I'm very familiar with this hike, and I'm super comfortable, and I'll take care of you. It'll be fine. And they only had to go a short distance through this little valley before it came back onto the trail. So she was like, okay, you know what? It's cool. So they decided to do it. Well, lo and behold, as they were in this dark wooded area, I guess it was so dark they didn't have any flashlights or anything, but if I remember correctly, they stepped on something soft or they tripped on something in the middle of the trail, and so they both were really uncomfortable because they thought at first maybe it's a wild animal and maybe there's some wild animal that's laying in this freaking trail, so they decided to just turn around and go back. So as they came out, they went back to their cars. So years and years and years later, in an interview with Ted Bundy after he was already in prison, he was doing an interview, and the person doing the interview was like, do you ever recall a time where you almost got caught? And he was like, yeah, I do. And he said there was a one night where he had just killed a girl, and he was in the process of digging the grave to bury her body. And he said these two freaking people came from out of nowhere and kind of interrupted him. And so he said, he's like, I was crouched in the bushes. I was going to kill them because I was afraid that I was going to get caught. So I decided I was going to have to go ahead and kill this guy and this girl. But he said they eventually just turned around and they left. They got scared and they left. So he went about his business and went ahead and buried the body. And the girl was like, holy shit, that was my parents. Like,
wow. Dang,
on their first date, dude. So,
dang. Being scared saved their life, though.
Yeah,
literally,
right,
potentially,
right.
like, scared. Like,
if they had
being
kept going,
scared
who
of all
would have known?
Though, just like, hey, saved their life.
Right.
Holy
I thought that was a pretty
crap,
cool
dude.
story. Like,
that's insane.
Yeah, like really hits close to home when
Yeah.
you're like, dude, my parents almost got killed by Ted Bundy. And I'm sure there's a lot of stories out there that maybe, people haven't heard.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got the weirdos like Ed Gein, who, for those of you that don't know who Ed Gein is, and once again, it's kind of embarrassing that I know this much about serial killers.
Look,
but
dude,
I
what you
have
do
read
in your
a lot
free
of-
time, like I said, we don't judge.
Well, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Anyway, but I mean, that is where they got the inspiration for Leatherface and for Norman Bates' character in Psycho, and also Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. So Ed Gein was a weirdo, man. Weirdo up there in Wisconsin. I actually have a friend who lives very close to where Ed Gein's farm was.
Oh, wow.
She was saying that she would be interested in, and she'd be cool with going there and
Dude,
actually
I'd go.
doing. Well, the problem is though that it's been torn down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the city was really like ashamed of what happened there, and they burned his house down and they tore it all down. So now it's basically just land.
So they didn't see the marketing side of that for sure, because like
Somebody could have cashed
potentially
it on it
you
for
could be
sure.
like, hey, you want to do a haunted tour of
Probably just some like really religious person who is just like, oh, it's evil. It needs to be destroyed.
I mean, yeah,
I would have
yeah.
cashed in, dude. I would have been like tours.
Yeah, for
Thursday,
sure.
Fridays, and
Yeah.
Saturdays for sure.
Halloween, double the price.
Yeah, dude. It's Ed Gein. Like
true.
everybody knows about Ed Gein.
It's true. Facts. All the facts.
But anyways,
Dude, so I got a story.
cool.
I don't know if it was a serial killer, but this is a creepy story. It happened when I was pretty young. I was obviously living with my mom. Stepdad had went hunting, and he was out of town. So it was just my mom, my sister, and myself. And we'd went to go see... It was one of the Santa Claus movies. It was during, the holiday season or whatever.
Okay.
And we were on our way home, and there's this road we turned down, and at this point there's no streetlights down this road. And you pass a fire station, and you get to this one-lane bridge. And as we pulled up to the one-lane bridge, we see this guy standing there, and he's dressed pretty much in all black, and he has a hood on. Can't see his face, can't make out anything, like, just a guy in a black hoodie, black everything. And so he's kind of like walking to the car, like walking up to the vehicle, and he walks past the driver door and then walks to the rear, driver's side door, the passenger, and my sister was laying in the back seat, like asleep. And he reached for the door handle, so I was like, Mom, punch it. And she did, and we drove off, and it was so creepy because I remember looking back, and he just sat there and he watched us drive away. Like, he just watched. And to this day, like, no idea what that dude's intention was, but, like, man, it was the weirdest.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was creepy, man.
You
Super
know,
weird.
and that's what I love about this channel is like a lot of times we will start talking about things and it triggers things that you forgot about.
Yep.
As a kid, I distinctly remember one time where we stopped at this red light on a very busy street, like the main street in the town that we lived in. And as we were sitting at the light, we had the windows down, and some freaking weird dude just like ran up to our car and threw a dead cat in my mom's lap. And, it looked like it had been run over or whatever. And obviously, my mom starts freaking out and screaming. And as a kid, I'm just like screaming because, I don't know what's going on. I just see this dead animal in the car. But yeah, there's a lot of weirdos out there, dude.
I mean, that's essentially serial killers. Hello, like you have to be somewhat weird. Like, Definitely a weird mindset.
I'm trying to remember exactly. They were saying that at any given time, this number is probably not accurate, but at the same time, they were saying that at any given time in the United States, there's, I want to say, 4 active serial killers.
That doesn't surprise me.
I want to say it's more.
Dude, honestly, like, if you think about it, like, if that surprises somebody, like, you live in a box.
Yeah. So there's literally, like, as we're talking right now, there's at least 4 dudes out there that are killing somebody right now, or at least plotting to kill somebody. And like I said, at least 4.
Yeah.
I would suspect it would be much, much higher. Especially nowadays, there's a lot of pissed off people in the world.
Well, you gotta think that's probably just an average, though. So that's not saying like
Average, yeah.
Yeah. So
Sometimes
if your average is 4,
60.
that could be
Yeah.
a lot more. So.
Pre-COVID, 4.
Yeah. Exactly.
After COVID, 65.
I mean, COVID maybe killed some of them off.
Possibly, I doubt it. I doubt it. Those guys live forever. Freaking
true.
Charles Manson is still in prison. Like,
That's true.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I think he just died recently. I don't know.
Dude, I don't even know, bro. Like I said, dude, you surprised me with this segment because, like, this is one of those things, like, I know some, but I don't know enough to be like, yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, I know way more than I should. But, I mean, that's in general. Like, I know a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff that's not really going to take you anywhere in life, but whatever. It's just stuff that I've read over the years. And, you know, you got the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez, who was all about Satan. I think he's Satan's, like, the dog. There was a dog that, like, the dog barking, like, made him possessed or whatever, and he would hear Satan telling him to kill people. And you know, you hear about these serial killers that, like, picked out certain people. He didn't. He literally just rode the train, and whenever he felt like getting off the train, he would get off the train, and just whatever house was there, he'd just break into it and just kill them. So,
Dude, that's some Amityville horror stuff right there, bro.
yeah, even crazier.
Start hearing stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, but your family.
Yeah. So,
All right, guys, we're gonna move on to chasing haunted places with me, Chase.
let's do it.
All right, so from my hometown, I just thought it'd be cool to bring back, you know, something from where I live. So, or lived, I should say. So, Hot Springs, Arkansas, the Arlington Hotel and Resort. It was built in 1875. And a lot of these stories and a lot of the happenings, when I was doing the research, I couldn't find the backstory to a lot of why these things or why they suspect these things happened or what story it derives from. But it has a multitude of things. So there's been a woman in a wedding dress that'll stand at a window looking out into the street. And the assumption is she's waiting for her groom to come get her. Which, in that same sense, there is a guy that roams the halls in a black suit who just randomly roams the halls. And apparently, if you wave at him, he'll wave back. Was one of the reports that you can actually wave at this guy and he'll wave back at you.
Friendly ghost.
Yeah. There's a bellhop. They have all kinds of different. It seems like dude, they can make a movie on this for real. So they have a bellhop that roams the 4th floor, if I'm not mistaken, and he apparently will just go through doors. Like, he'll roam the halls and just walk through your door straight into your room, even though it's closed.
He's a little pervert ghost, huh?
Probably is, dude.
Huh.
To get creepier, because to me, there's nothing creepier than
A pervert.
kid. Well, that's too. Yeah. Well, yes, technically.
Sorry, go ahead.
So there's a little girl in a pink dress that's been seen throughout the lobbies, hallways, and she just roams, I guess, throughout. And there's nothing creepier than, like, a kid ghost. In my opinion, dude, if I saw a ghost that was a kid, that would terrify me.
I don't know, dude. I think I'd rather have a kid ghost than, like, some ghost that's, like, missing half their face.
No, I'm cool with that. Like, I'll take that.
Yeah?
I'm good with it. Good with it.
To each his own.
So in one of the rooms, just based on stuff that I was reading, has been said to have the most activity. Excuse me. It's room 220 or 824, and they have, like, poltergeist type scenarios where doors will open and shut. Wine bottles just fly off the shelf and break unexplainably with nobody around it.
Dang.
Just all these weird things. Like I said, dude, they can make a movie probably off this hotel alone if they really wanted to.
Have you ever been to this hotel?
I have been inside it twice. I've never went past the lobby. I've heard these stories. I've heard some of the stories as a kid. People have reported that, they felt like something brushed against them, even though they were the only person in the room or they were the only person there. Just unexplainably, something brushed against them.
We should do some more research on this. Like maybe some of your family members or somebody has stayed there and experienced something.
So it's actually, it was a popular spot, like in the gangster area. So Al Capone, he stayed there. He used to eat dinner there.
I thought you meant like gangster, like
No,
low riders.
No. Like the original OG gangsters.
Okay.
One of the rooms is said to have a doorway that led to the underground side of Hot Springs. So there's actually underground tunnels within Hot Springs. That's how gangsters would actually get around and move from building to building, especially if they were going to get busted for something. Yeah, that's how they would get away, is there was underground.
Well, I mean, in down south too, there's a lot of underground tunnels because of slavery, like the Underground Railroad and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I know there was a lot of those in Texas where I'm from.
Dude, I tried to take the tour of these tunnels, and I've heard about them. Now, whether or not they actually exist, I've never seen them, because I've always been like, hey, if somebody knows where these things are at, like, I'll happily go tour those, like in a heartbeat. I'd go.
I've been in some tunnels. There was a lot of tunnels underneath. I grew up in a small town. Well, I lived in a small town. I didn't really grow up there for too long. But anyway, I lived in a small town called Ballinger, Texas, in West Texas. And I remember there was tunnels that went on for miles and miles and miles under this town. And we would go in there. My same group of buddies that that I fell in the with the spiders. Anyways,
such a terrible story. Like, you don't go in the storm cellar to begin with. Anyway, go ahead.
And then we went in tunnels.
Yeah, it was a bad idea, dude.
But anyway, we used to go pretty deep in those things too. I mean, as a kid, you don't have you can't really determine how far you went, like distance wise. But as an adult now, I think it would probably be about 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile. Damn. But I mean, that's a long way in a tunnel, in a pitch black tunnel. And I do remember we got in there pretty deep one time, and we could hear voices.
Yep.
And supposedly from the older kids. My brother, when he's older than me, he said that if you keep going, eventually the tunnels would open up into like a large chamber. Dang. And then more tunnels would run off that, kind of like or whatever, those types of sewers or whatever. So we were like, dude, screw that. There shouldn't be anybody else down here. No. Almost a mile in the middle of nowhere in this freaking tunnel. And once again, down south, devil worshiping was a big thing, especially in the 80s when I grew up. So,
and it's funny, you can, like, you got the Bible Belt, as it's referred to. So, like, it really is. But at the same time, as much as you have with churches, Bible Belt, you also have the other extreme of devil worshiping, and, like, it gets extreme even in that aspect.
Isn't that weird, dude? Like,
and you get the best of both worlds, if you will. Not really the best, I guess. Like,
I see what you're saying.
Sort of like you get the worst. You get each extremes. Yes, there you go. Yeah, you get each extreme.
For sure, dude. I mean, the town that I lived in Ballinger, I remember in like 6th grade or something like that. We were pretty young. We had to actually go to a seminar regarding devil worshiping.
Oh, dude,
and I think the goal was that. I don't remember if it was a church that was presenting this seminar or whatever, but basically what they were trying to do is they were trying to scare all of us kids to where we would not sneak out of our house at night. The park there in Ballinger, man, it was a creepy ass park, dude.
Yeah.
Just like, it was a big park, and then I remember that you could go across like this dam. And if you went across the dam, supposedly like there were some caves back there, and that's where all the really bad crazy shit would happen. Yep. So us kids would, of course, go across the dam. And then, like, I remember distinctly. I remember somebody saying that they went across the dam and they went a couple miles into the woods, and they came across like a little shack where there was somebody was cooking something in there. There's like smoking coming out of there. Yeah, it's the middle of nowhere. But yeah, this seminar was pretty crazy, dude. I remember them showing a video of, it looked like a human sacrifice, and of course it was edited and censored out or whatever. But I do remember that my parents got really upset and mad that they showed us something like that at such a young age. But once again, I think this church was really just trying to let the kids know how severe and
how dangerous these
how
things
dangerous
were.
the real world was, and you know, for us to just stay inside our houses at night, and it didn't work. But like as I said, as I got older, I see, you know.
Dude, you know what's crazy is, so I know we've talked about that. Like when I was younger, so no street lights, no lights outside at all. Whatever you get from the moon or the stars, that's what you got. That's it. You don't have anything else as far as light. Cell phones, like you had flip phones maybe, but you didn't take a flashlight when you would sneak out of your house. Like you just didn't bring it with you. As a kid, I didn't. Yeah. So I would walk out the front door of my house when I would sneak out and just go walk. Like, and looking back with just kind of what exposure and, you know, dude, I would have never done that. Yeah. Like, especially because you hear something like walking in the woods. I have no way of telling you what it was. Yeah. Was it probably just some random little small animal? Sure. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it was.
Maybe it was Ted Bundy.
Exactly. Like,
you know,
same scenario.
And that's the thing, too, is you hear people saying, like, oh, you know, back in those days it was different. Like, it was a lot safer. Yep. And to one aspect, that is true. I do remember nights where, you know, we would stay out super late, never really had any problems. Nobody ever tried to kidnap me. No. Never encountered anything like that. But at the same time, in the late 70s, early 80s, that was a big time for serial killers.
Right.
Yeah. If you look at the 70s, like that was prime for serial killers because it was really easy because everybody was hitchhiking at that time. Yep. You know what I mean? Whether they were going to music festivals or just, you know, whatever. And hitchhikers would literally just pick these people up, just be like, oh, cool. You know, there's another 17-year-old girl walking on the highway in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to pick her up and I'm going to kill her. And nobody's going to even know.
Would you say that serial killers are a dying breed in the sense of where we're at today?
I think it's an evolving breed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I think that they've gotten better.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just some truck driver driving around now. Like, well, I mean, you look at sex trafficking too. You don't really need to kidnap people anymore. You can just buy somebody. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. For people who don't really know much about human trafficking, like that is a huge problem right now, and it's billions and billions of dollars. I mean, everybody wants to talk about drugs and everybody wants to talk about like illegal firearms and stuff, but human trafficking is probably bigger than both of those.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, like I said, 70s and 80s, they didn't have the technology that the police department has nowadays. It was harder to get caught. I mean, you literally physically had to get caught.
Right.
Basically. Yeah. Now it's just like you leave a fingerprint and you're pretty much screwed. Yeah. So I think serial killers now have just evolved and gotten much better and smarter at what they do. Otherwise, they'd just be getting caught like crazy nowadays. Everybody's got a cell phone.
Yeah, cell phones that can be tracked and
everybody's
so
got
on.
Cameras on their front door.
Yep.
So I don't think it'll ever go away. I think serial killers will always be around.
Oh, yeah. As sad as that is, I think there's always going to be that threat of people that just want to kill for unexplained reasons.
Yeah. That's just one of those things that you have to think about at all times. Like anybody could be a serial killer too. I mean, you look at like John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah.
You know, I think he was an usher at his church. Like just big time, well known, well respected. Like everybody was like, there's no way this guy would have done that. Well, 30-something bodies underneath his freaking under his house. That's buried nuts. Under his house.
That's crazy.
So yeah, dude. So Hot Springs, right?
Hot Springs, man. The Arlington Hotel.
I think we need to stay there when we go down there.
Dude, there's a lot of things that happen there. Like after I started digging into it, so like I had heard some of the stories. I'd heard like, you know, you hear people talking, you hear laughter from time to time, like just from nowhere. And I've never actually stayed there though, surprisingly. So
I think we need to get your mom and your sister to stay there for us one night or a couple nights.
Dude, I don't know. I'd probably stay there. Like, I didn't hear of anything violent ever happening. Like weird things happening, yes, but nothing in the sense that somebody was going to be done harm.
Right.
So I mean, if it's just things moving, slamming the door, cool. Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, but at the same time, dude, like I feel like it's a lot of it's probably just a publicity thing where people are just trying to make some extra cash and saying something's haunted. Somebody imagined something one night or heard a freaking raccoon and was like, oh, there's somebody coming down the stairs. So, like I said, I'm kind of skeptical when people are like, oh, this place is haunted. Unless there's like multiple.
No, there's been multiple. So each account, so each of those things I named off. So the wedding dress, the guy in the black suit, your bellhop guy, all those things, those were from multiple sources. That wasn't just one person. Like there was a couple of reports of these things. That wasn't just like a one and done type scenario. So
right. Hey, so if there's anybody out there that has stayed at this hotel there in Hot Springs that's
Yes.
encountered something, let us know. You can contact us now. We have a feature here now where people can actually call in. So
yeah, buddy.
you can always call me or Chase on our cell phones even during the show, and we will get a light that flashes saying we have a call, and we'll take that call, and we'll talk about anything. Yep. Anything you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Preferably send us a message first ahead of time.
Yeah, so we have a heads up.
So we have a heads up. That way we can definitely get you on here, make it happen.
I think that is a feature that we're going to be using down the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people have stories that they would like to tell, but they just don't want to be on camera, or they just don't live here.
That's fine.
If somebody lives in like I said, Wisconsin or Washington State, they can't just come down to Vegas to tell a story so they can be on Knightmare Talks. So
I mean, they could. They just probably
we wouldn't expect them to.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So once again, anybody that stayed at this place here in Hot Springs, what's it called again?
The Arlington Hotel.
Arlington Hotel.
Yep.
Why don't they just call it like a Hot Springs Hotel? It's kind of deceiving, like Arlington, Virginia.
It's very basic of you. Very basic of you.
Well. All right, dude. So that was a really good episode. I feel
Dude,
like
this was a solid episode.
I've been waiting for an episode to talk about serial killers, man. So we finally got to get that out.
I'm kind of amazed you haven't said anything until like just now.
Yeah,
It's weird that it's taking you this long to say something, because usually when something's on your brain, guess what happens? You say it.
Comes out.
Like you just say
Ask
it.
my boss. Ask my boss. I'm always in trouble for that.
So your wife?
Well,
oh, sorry.
her too.
That's awkward.
Her too. So anyways, guys, thanks again for tuning in.
As always,
you
guys are what make it happen. Go, sorry.
No, they do.
Action to you, bro.
They make it happen.
Yeah, I do.
So once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
If you haven't done all the above, shame on you. You're not really a fan.
They're fans. But once again, guys, stay tuned. We will have another episode for you guys soon. And once again, thank you guys for everything, and we'll talk to you later.
See ya.